Hey everybody, and welcome to Chew Stream, where we talk about art and life as an artist. I'm your host, Bobby Chew, and today we have a 90-minute art challenge. Now, before we go on any further, just a reminder to subscribe to this channel so that you can find this channel again. Also, hit the notification button so you'll be notified when there's a new video. Okay, so what is the art challenge? This is the subject for today. A nice kind of simple subject until you really get into it, and then you're like, oh, texture, oh, this, oh, that, wow, all these subtleties. How do you make a shape out of such a dark patch of tone? How do you make a three-dimensional shape and all these things? So we have 90 minutes, and that's all you have. But in the 90 minutes, the challenge is to create your own illustration from this 90 minutes. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of work. Get ready to put on your thinking caps, and away we go. I'm going to be doing the painting with you, of course. I'm going to be doing somewhat of a combination challenge. Remember challenge 4? Moonlight Wolf by Frederick Remington, this wonderful piece here. I am actually looking at this and going, I'd like to combine the two. The Frederick Remington piece, of course, that was from memory. That was challenge number 4. Studied it all week, literally studied it all week. It has been burned into my long-term memory now, my mental library, and that's part of the point of these streams here, is to expand our mental libraries so that we are able to paint stuff out of our heads, especially for all those aspiring concept artists out there. As a concept artist, you are the person to come up with the concept. You don't really have that much reference a lot of times. You need to make up a lot of it. You need to make up reality. So this, of course, is a great way to do that. Now, what am I doing first? I am actually just sketching a few little very, very quick sketches just to get into the rhythm of things, and you might want to do the same. Okay, we have 90 minutes to finish this challenge. Now, if you are new to the streams, you can ask questions. You can ask them live on Discord. Let me unmute my Discord here. Hey, Discord gang. So you can come on to Discord. The details are in the details underneath the video in YouTube. And you could join the Discord gang and ask me questions live. Or you can go to slido.com, #ChewStream, and type in your questions there. Not only that, but you can look at all the other questions and vote up your favorite questions, okay? And the best thing of all with Slido that I like is that you don't have to mess around with signing up for an account or anything. If you like, you could just type stuff in anonymously if you're the shy type. Okay, so we do have a bunch of questions already kind of coming in, but let me see where everybody's from first. I would love to know where everybody's from. Last week, man, India, holy smokes, showed up in droves just to take over the stream today. I wonder where everybody's from today. So we got Sydney, and I'm sure they're all going to start piling in very quickly here. Italy, Germany, and okay, here we go. Orlando. Carlos Rue in Orlando. And Sao Paulo, Italy, Russia, Poland. Got 2 Italys. Right on. Italy again, Netherlands, Germany, Thailand, California, Italy, Syria, Philippines, Greece, Argentina. I think Italy's kind of winning right now. Germany's picking up. Germany, Costa Rica, Netherlands, Iceland. Netherlands, right on. There's been a bunch of people from the Netherlands, more and more over the weeks. Colombia, UK, France, Hong Kong, Serbia, Indonesia. Where's all my Indians? I hardly see any Indians in there. Okay, there's an Indian. There's a person from India there. And then the list. Oh my gosh, it's blowing up now. Whole bunch from Colombia as well. Okay, so took a little bit of time. I did a few very quick sketches just to really explore. And through exploring, you tend to find answers to your questions. How to paint this, how to paint that, what does that really mean? And you start to discover subtleties to things, which I love. Oh, there's everybody from India. All right, there we go. Argentina. Yeah, South America. It's been just loving it. Okay. So why don't we go to the first question of the day? For the first question, I will go to Slido. Okay. Dan asks, what is the best way to find quality freelance art jobs? Excellent, excellent question. To find quality freelance art jobs, okay, let me just answer the question straight first and then give you kind of my own thoughts on this. So, going to events, actually, going to events is kind of the best way to find good art jobs, but you want to look at the event that you're going to. How many studios are going to be present there? How many awesome artists are going to be present there? How many directors and art directors and so on and so forth? That's what you're going to really need to look into, because some conventions, maybe it's a comic convention or something like that, are just filled with fans. And none of them are going to give you art jobs, good ones, right? You want to go to places like San Diego Comic-Con. I've gotten a lot of amazing art jobs there. And I'm pretty darn sure, from what I've heard, Tim Burton's people found me there as well, way back in the day. Of course, LightBox Expo, last year, if you were there, it was like every studio was there, not just exhibiting, but sponsoring, supporting. And that really says something too about that event, and we also had an artist database and interviews and things like that, so that companies can easily connect with the artists that they wanted to meet. Now, here is the second kind of part to this question. How do you find quality freelance? I feel like us as freelancers, I kind of equate it to when I think about the really popular girls back in high school. The really popular girls back in high school, how many guys did I ever see them approach to, ask out? Zero. They never went looking for guys. Instead, they worked on themselves and, made sure that they become better people in general, more likable, perhaps, maybe a little bit more pretty with the new clothes or whatever it might be. But the whole entire idea was that they would attract attention. They would attract the people, right? And that's how I kind of feel about freelance artists. The best ones, they don't really ask for jobs very much. Honestly, I have, and I'm always honest, so I don't even know, I kind of don't like that term, but you caught myself using that term. Yeah, I don't even know when the last time was that I asked for an art job or looked for art jobs. It's always been about making something, putting it out there, and trying to make it spread, right? And the best way to make things spread is through kind of activating people's emotions. What is the emotional impact of your art? Does it have any kind of emotional impact? If it's confusing, then you're not hitting the mark, right? But think about it. When was the last time something genuinely made you laugh, genuinely made you just fuzzy inside looking at it, just in love, right? Awe-inspired, perhaps. That awe-inspired feeling when you're looking at something just so amazing, that's the emotion that comes out. Now, when we think back to these kinds of things that we see, not just artwork, anything, a movie, a post, maybe a post on 9gag or something like that, how many times did you tell somebody else? You see, that's the secret sauce right there. If you feel like this is a piece where somebody looks at it, they're going to really get hit emotionally in the right way, the way that you intended, and you feel like this is something that people will share, and generally people share it because it made them feel something, right? And you generally go to your friend and you go, hey, check this out. Did you see this? Did you see this? And then when they laugh, you're like, yeah, you laugh with them. And you're like, yeah, that's my friend. That's why you're my friend. We get each other. We understand each other. It's a very natural thing. So how do you get good quality freelance? Imagine your stuff gets shared. Imagine it gets shared all the time. Imagine it's getting shared tons of times with every image. When somebody has good quality freelance and they're looking at your work and seeing how people react to it and how they react to it, it makes it very much closer to a no-brainer. Let's call up that person. Let's work with that person. So for me, when I was looking at this image, I start to think, yeah, nighttime. Maybe not overcast daytime, but nighttime. What kind of things come out at night? Right? So I started to explore that and started to think about this little creature that sits on a branch. It's kind of bunny-like, kind of like bunny-like, kind of bird-like. Maybe a lot of people don't really realize that bunnies and birds used to be one species. Maybe that's the gag, right? Maybe that's the thought. Well, that was the thought in my head, so I started to explore. I always thought it was very weird when somebody told me that actually wolves are related to whales somehow. Is that wrong? Is that right? Like, seriously, I don't believe it. I'm like in disbelief anyways. It just doesn't sound logical to me, but apparently that's what I heard. So maybe you can debunk my misconceptions here, or you can say, yeah, they actually do relate, because I am kind of curious about that. All right, so why don't we go on to a Discord question? Do we have any Discorders on there that wants to ask a question?
Hey.
Hello. What's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, Bobby, I'm from Colombia. I'm Arturo.
Hi, Arturo.
I wanted to ask, sometimes I've been working like with ink and with graphite and then changing to digital painting. Sometimes I feel like the style that my drawing has changes pretty much a lot when I change from media. So you think I should try to like merge them together, or like let each style be its own?
That's a really good question. I would do both. I would try merging them together, and I'd try to just sharpen each one by themselves and see what happens. With this illustration right here, you'll see once I get into color, and I'm getting into a little bit of color right now. It's You will see a direct connection with the Frederick Remington painting that that I studied like 2 weeks before. So yes, absolutely mix and match, and then also just try to sharpen that one and see how it goes. Something that kind of off topic, but something that really helped me throughout my career was having different modes, different speeds. So maybe one style is more for a quicker art, right? And then the other style is more for very, very finished, very, very precise and detailed. And that's helped me out of many, many art jobs and things like that. Does that make sense? I hope so. That was a great question, though.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So, back to this painting here, you can start to see, okay, I'm starting to put into nighttime. And can you kind of get a feeling that I'm going for here? It's kind of like this eerie, cute feeling, right? Because I don't know if you could tell right now, but what does the thing have in its little hands? It has a little bug. And that's the idea. It's about to eat this tiny little bug in the dark, right? Should be fun. Okay. Let's go on to the next question here. Oh, actually, before we go on to the next question, I got something to show you. Every week, we also upload our assignments, right? We upload our paintings, our illustrations, and hashtag it 90-minute art challenge. Okay, and then every week, what I would like to do is show you some of my favorites on the internet. All right, so starting with this one. Beautiful. This one is actually from today's art challenge. I love how it's different, and I love the influence from previous challenges where we did these spots of light. Excellent. I caught that, Hassan. So really, really great job. Is that your name? Or is it Milton? I don't know. But, I think that's the place, and that's your name. Hassan. Great job. All right. This is awesome. Love it. Simple. Doesn't have to be crazy. Doesn't have to be like a million hours. It caught it just like that and gave you this wonderful emotional reaction, which is funny. It's cute. It's funny. It's angry and it's fluffy. Love it. Daria. Oh, so cool. What an imagination. Very, very cool. This one was from last week's. Lovely, lovely job, Ivy. Hilarious, right? Just changed the context, used influences from the illustration. Wonderful job. And then Robin, or who's this? This is Saboteur. Awesome job. Robin Har. And then Squibble Studios, always rocking it. Always kicking some butt. So way to go with the multiple studies here. And that's what it's really, really, really all about. It's all about, oops. Let's see here. It's all about not trying to go as fast as you can, not trying to do your time, but it's all about understanding, adding knowledge, adding more books into our mental library so that we can write any story, we can draw any story, we can draw anything. All right. Any more questions in Discord before we move on? All right, we'll go on to anonymous question. Anonymous from Slido says, how do you manage hand-arm artist pain from drawing a lot? What I recommend is going to a physiotherapist if you don't understand what the problem is. Okay, if you do understand what the problem is and maybe you just need rest, time it out if you have a problem remembering to rest. I had very complex problems. so many things were kind of counterintuitive. Once I went to a physiotherapist, he was like, yeah, usually I tell people to do this, but when I do this, this part doesn't move, or that part is moving too much and this part's stuck, things like that. And that's why it's like pretty much impossible for me to tell you what to do for your arm or wrist problems. Um, if they're minor, I would say stretch and rest. You know, stretching and resting is huge. And working out, getting those muscles stronger. That's what's really helped me come back from all those arm injuries that I've had over years. Because actually, it wasn't just arm, it was back and neck and shoulders and all sorts of stuff. Just a giant bunch of knots. But I wish you luck. All right. Discord. I see a bunch of you on there. Anybody want to?
Hello?
Hello. Who is
Hello,
this?
Bobby.
What's your name and where are you from, my friend?
I'm Nico from Paraguay. Bobby, I'm an animator, mostly self-taught, and I have received a lot of advice in character design, animation, and everything you should need in a portfolio. But my question is more about a curriculum. In the writing aspect, anything that you think is important for artists, especially to put like how many hours of work do you feel comfortable working, or if you need to put you don't work in certain circumstances, or anything that you consider important in the writing aspect of a curriculum.
Like your resume. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll go from the my own perspective because that's all I can give you. My own experience and everything of looking at people's portfolios. You know, when I need another artist to hire for a project or sometimes a permanent artist at our studio, I look at the art and I try to see what kind of person they are. Try to get an idea of their personality. What are they interested in? That's a big one. And the writing, same kind of thing. If it aligns with the interests of what you do, that becomes huge to me. Because I know what I'm gonna get. You know, I know I feel like I know what I'm gonna get, and that makes me a lot more comfortable hiring the person. One thing that I look for as well is a cover letter that is personalized. That is very, very big for me. If I feel like your resume is the same thing, like your portfolio, the whole package is the same thing that you've given to 50 other people, right away you go down a whole bunch on my list. A whole bunch. I will look at everybody that has written something specifically to me or put in something specifically to me, because it's not because I want to make sure people think I'm special or something. It's totally not about that. It shows how much you want it, right? Like if you give the same portfolio to 10 different places, how much do you really want to work at place number 2? You know, not that much more than place number 3. I'm looking for the people that really, really want to work at my place in particular. That's another big one. You know, so if you're saying stuff like, "Oh, this is how many hours I could work," that's good. You know, don't make it more than necessary. I think it's always better to over deliver, right? And when you say stuff, you say less, and then they see you work and you do more, and then they're like, wow. The other thing is, I'm trying to think of, yeah, you know, in the cover letters, if I can get a sense of your personality, that's really, really nice. If you aren't feeling like a robot. And then the interviews. I guess let's just go straight from that to interviews as well. For me, anyways, I guess because I have a much smaller shop, you know, there's 12, 13 of us in Toronto at Imaginism Studios full time, it's very important that the person that we bring in is somebody that we like. And what that means is that we want to see the real you, the you that will appear 9 months from now, or 6 months from now, or whatever. We want to get to know that person. And if you could show us that person, never get more casual than your interviewer. That's what I kind of think. But if they start to get casual, then you get casual, right? And show them how you normally are. Because if you're somebody that can just very easily just talk with us, or talk with our clients, or whatever that might be, that's also very, very big bonus points. If you can make our day more fun by you being there and still productive, then that's huge bonus points, right? Because the exact opposite is like you actually make the day worse by being there. That's horrible, and especially for me, because I love my studio. I really enjoy working, but it just takes one annoying person to mess that up. Pretty long answer, Nico. I hope it helps. The main thing is,
It did.
yeah, if you are writing and you're not talking to them in person, try to give a bit of your personality. Yeah.
Will do, Bobby. Thank you very much. It helped a lot.
My pleasure. Really nice speaking with you. All
Have
right.
an awesome stream.
Yes, thank you. All right, so we have just about 30 minutes have passed. Okay, so we have a bit over an hour to complete our illustration. I also want to show you a sneak peek of next week's illustration. I don't know if you guys watched this show, but it just had its season finale, Westworld. And so this is the study. Let's do some film studies, let's switch it up a little. It'll be fun. This looks like a heck of a lot of fun. I love the whole entire smokiness above. I feel like we can really play with that. We could really do something with that atmosphere. Maybe heighten it more. Maybe, really wash it out so the background is darkness, but with a strip of light that hits all this fog, right? And just seeing some creepy stuff behind or something like that. That's the initial thoughts as I was looking at that image there. So that should be fun. Janae says, just
Hello.
watch the finale. Yes, hi.
Hi, I'm Jan from Poland.
Hi, Jana from Poland. Very nice to meet you.
The same, and I have a question for you.
Sure.
What do you think is the perfect between solo studies and group studies?
There was a part where things broke up a little bit. Can you repeat your question again? Sorry.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
So, what do you think is the perfect ratio between solo studies and group studies?
Do you mean studying alone, like painting alone?
And studying with a group of friends.
Oh, I think studying with a group is way better all the time. Because a lot of times you study, or you're painting and drawing, you're studying together, you're not really talking that much.
Yeah.
Right?
And when there's talking, it's really useful.
Yeah. And then you can very easily go, hey, what do you think of this? Hey, how'd you do that? You can look over and see how they're doing something amazing, and then you go, oh, how'd you do that? Yeah. Does that answer your question? Because one of the best times in my learning was in the subway sketch groups in Toronto. We would meet, and I would meet anybody that wanted to learn from me and draw with me on the subways. And we would go on the subway and draw people on the trains for, about 2.5 hours. And everybody's drawing the same thing. So we're all kind of studying the same things in different ways. And that was extremely helpful for everybody to learn a lot.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Yeah, and for those of you out there, I would love to know, I would love to talk about LightBox for a second here. Okay, so LightBox Expo, the huge event that we had last year in Pasadena, that's going online now. Okay, it's not going to be live in Pasadena. It's going to be online. But the cool thing is, I wasn't too into the online idea at first, but then I thought, the presence of LightBox Expo is so huge online, and the amount of influencers that support LightBox Expo is also gigantic online, especially. So why not do something online? The other part that really kind of put it over the edge was, I feel like it's such a new thing that there's still a ton of opportunity there to do things that nobody's ever done before, and that's what we plan on doing with Lightbox. Hopefully, we will. Yeah, so anybody have any good ideas, any interesting things that you would like to see happen at Lightbox? Well, I'm one of the organizers, so let me know. You could put some suggestions in the comments and things like that. I have my assistant Jamie in the chat as well. I will ask her to just copy those any good suggestions. And if you don't have any, that's fine too. We also have tons of ideas, and it should be fun. I'm thinking it's going to be really cool, especially because I've been streaming for so long. I've been streaming for over 10 years, so that's also something that I'm quite familiar with. Yeah, so please put them in the comments. I also want to mention something here. You can see at the bottom there is a little text there that's saying annual subscription. We have our spring sale right now, and this is a really good sale. We usually only have 2 sales in an entire year, and this is one of them. For an entire year, to access every class on Schoolism, you can get an annual Schoolism subscription. That gives you access to all the content on Schoolism. And it usually costs $299.40. Right now, it's $198. So it's over $100 off. You're saving $100 on an entire year of education, and it's like you're paying 2/3. Not only will this help you in your education and learning and keeping it going, and gives you access to the new artist workout that we have on Schoolism, but it's also going to help LightBox Expo indirectly, because we aren't able to put on the event this year live, and we are aiming to do as much of LightBox Expo for free as possible online, right? But people and budget and everything, you get it. It helps. We know this putting on an event of this size is a huge financial burden, but we also know that there's a lot of people out there that are in a much worse place than me, or LightBox Expo. So we want to try to help those people as well. We would love to know ideas about how can artists sell stuff creatively online. What kind of things could they sell that would make you actually want to buy it? These kind of things. Okay, so there we go. I'd love to get some suggestions. And why don't we go to a question here? Oh, question.
Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Azalia from Indonesian.
Hi. Very nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I want to ask you some question.
Sure.
For international person like me, I
Yes.
live in Indonesia, and of course, it's really far away from a big animation industry like in the Hollywood, and big studios out there. And I want to ask you, is there any opportunities like me, an animator in this country, to join some project of a big studios like maybe Disney or Pixar or DreamWorks, or any some kind of suggestion for us
Yeah.
national animators out there?
Yeah. Well, first of all,
Hmm?
I love Indonesia. I've only been to
Oh, really?
Bali, but it's
Yeah,
very
yeah, I
Bali is
know.
very different,
And yeah, and I'm from Bali actually.
Oh, really? I
Yeah, I
yeah, I had
I
such a
live.
good time.
Mhm.
And I had such a good time there, and everybody's so nice, and
Oh,
I
thank you
love the
so much.
food. I would have gado gado every morning,
Oh,
almost.
oh yeah.
uh, so yes, I wanted to show
Hmm.
you this person here. I will put it on screen, so it might take a little time before you see it, but
Yeah. Okay.
his name is Max Kostenko. Okay, and he
Huh.
lives in Russia.
Oh.
He's also worked on the Pokemon movie.
Hmm.
He's also worked on like Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. He's
Hmm.
also worked on like a million other, well, not a million other things. He's still, young-ish. So, but the whole entire thing is that he does this all from Russia.
Hmm.
So I live in Canada.
Oh.
So it really doesn't matter um, how far you live from everything else. It really, really doesn't. Uh, let your art speak for itself. When you learn enough, I guarantee you, all you need to do is learn enough, and the whole entire world will have no choice but to notice you. Okay?
Hmm.
Eventually,
Okay.
they will notice you. If you deserve to be noticed now and the world is not noticing you, that's okay. Keep going, and then you'll get to a point where you really, really, really should be noticed. And then when they do notice you, you will blow up even more.
Mhm.
Okay, so, and
Okay.
I've
Okay.
seen that with so many people as well. So, yeah.
Mm. Okay. For that, how we can build our portfolio actually? How
Uh,
can we build it uh in the best way?
let's work together here a little bit, okay? So let me ask you, what is your education? How long have you been
Oh,
serious with art?
I have been serious in art since I was in high school, and now I'm a college student
College student.
of, yeah,
And
of
what if I
design.
could if I could sprinkle some magic dust on you and give you any
Mm-hmm.
job you want, what would you want to do?
I want to do animation.
You want to animate.
Uh, yeah, character designers and animator.
Okay. If you can only do one, what?
Okay, if I could.
And it doesn't mean
Uh,
forever. It just means first. You know, if you could only do one of those things first, what would it be?
maybe animator.
Great. What would you
Mm-hmm.
be animating?
A Disney movie.
Disney movie. Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Okay. Um
yeah. Mm-hmm.
so
So,
this is what I would do.
how is there any suggestion for you
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
us for animator?
So what I would do is I would look at
Mm-hmm.
stuff that I think would be good as a Disney movie and make the Disney version of it. If it's
Mm,
good, they will for sure they will call you. They will find you.
okay.
Everything spreads so much easier now. So
Mm-hmm.
I would think about it like this. Okay, well, what would be a good movie as a Disney movie? I wonder. Um, maybe
Mm,
there's always messed up Asian folk tales, you know, that are pretty scary in the
yeah.
jungles and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So,
Yeah.
what is the Disney version of that? And make one of those. That's what I would do. You know,
Oh,
I would be like,
okay.
right? And so
All right.
instead of the thing dying in the end, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
monster killing the children or something, the children escape and there's a happy ending. You know, what is the Disney version of that? And I would really start to go after that, and I would look at even down to the actors. Okay, who is playing this monster that you're about to animate? Pick a person, right? Hopefully,
Mm,
hopefully you can find uh, a good movie where that person is playing a character that says some stuff that could be very in line with the same character from your story.
mm,
Okay, so for example, um, maybe the person isn't very smart, doesn't listen to his mother, and goes into the forest, right? I kind of think,
mm,
well, what actors have had kind of like a not so smart role, a not so smart character to play? Maybe it's Forrest Gump, right? Maybe it's
mm,
some other character that we might think of, and then we can think, oh yeah, he says this line in the movie. Maybe that would be good for this character in my film, right? And I'd
mm.
start acting out some
Yeah.
parts.
Mm,
I would start acting out some parts, and I would also think, what kinds of shots would I need here? Uh,
mm,
you know,
mm.
you don't want just action shots. You want to put in some drama, some storytelling, more subtle stuff as well. You know, that's how I would go about it, and just make it no excuses for Disney not to hire you.
Yeah, that's really helped me. Thank you so much for your suggestion. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. So we're just about at the halfway point. If you have been focusing nonstop on your image, perhaps kind of focus out of that, observe your image as a whole. If you've been just noodling on some feathers in one little place, time to kind of look at it as a whole, see what things you still want to accomplish. Take a little guess on the time, how long things would take. Uh, you can see here in my illustration, a lot of things have really happened here. I've really shaped out the little critter quite a bit, but there's still a lot of light tones and texture indications that I still want to put in there. Okay, I really never look at any comments or questions or whatever in Discord, because I'm looking at so many different things. But I do want to give a shout out to Prashan. Just wrote in the chat here. I was at the last LBX, Lightbox Expo. It was such a blast. What I valued the most and is difficult to do online will be the real connections made with face-to-face conversations with other artists. I'm excited to see how you'll be tackling this for this year. Perhaps the answer could be chat rooms with video, but please find a way, advocate culture that supports it. Love it. Love it. Really great suggestion. I really appreciate that. It's something that is kind of like the number one thing that I like the most about Lightbox Expo as well, is just all the awesome conversations and everything and chatting with everybody. All right. Any other questions on Discord before we go on?
Hello.
Hello. What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Ignacio, and I'm from Brazil.
Hi. Which part in
Hobby.
Brazil, actually?
Which part? Let's see. Minas Gerais. Let's see.
Is that more like in the central?
That state, like it's close to Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
And, how are you?
I'm good. I'm like I'm wishing everything go back to normal pretty soon, but I'm good.
Yeah. How has been the quarantine thing?
Quarantine, it's been
Yeah.
very interesting. I feel like I've got a lot more painting done, a lot more work done being in quarantine because I don't have to drive to work. But
Yeah.
working with everybody else has been more difficult just because we're not all in the same building and I can't just walk over and ask how things are going.
I got you.
Yeah.
The quarantine for me, I don't know if this is good or bad, but my lifestyle was already quarantined, so I'm
So you're fine.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
That's great.
I wanted to ask you something. Let me find. Okay. I'm trying to. I want to work for as a concept designer, and I cut for doing my pictures. I cut a lot of corners. Like I use different programs, like 3D, photo bashing, and things like that. And I recently I saw this quote from Aaron Lemonick. He is a teacher in CGMA. He said that if technology is responsible for your success, you are doing something wrong. And it occurred to me that concepts like value, color, shape, composition, would you say they are like more powerful tools to make an image than simply softwares or some other things?
I feel like it isn't black and white. There is a middle ground.
Hmm.
It's like, well, you're really good at composition and you're really good at all these other things, but you can't use a brush, you can't use oil paint because you don't know techniques, you don't know the technology,
Hmm.
right? So then that doesn't work well. But of course, I understand what he's saying, and what I feel like he's saying, I completely agree. We shouldn't rely on the technology and just know cool filters and cool little tricks to make things look good to people that don't understand art. We need to know the fundamentals of life, but I also feel like technology, it's the same thing as a brush. We need to learn those things as well and learn how to use them well. You know,
Yeah.
for many years, I didn't use custom brushes because I was like, you know, most painters, they only use one kind of brush and then many different sizes of that brush. Maybe 3 different brushes in total for the most complex paintings that they could do, right? 3 different kinds of brushes and different sizes of them. Maybe just one. Well, we could do the same thing with digital. We just use one brush, and it might just be a solid. I would just use like a solid brush for such a long time, hard edge brush. And if I wanted to paint any texture, I would paint the texture, right? I wouldn't grab a wood brush and then do some wood texture. Yeah, so it's definitely important to learn all of the next technologies. Like, and I'm sure the person that you heard this from would agree. You know, if you only sculpt, or if you're a sculptor and you don't know ZBrush, it could be very, very hard for you to get into the entertainment industry because everybody's using ZBrush.
Yeah, it would be impossible.
Yeah. Not totally impossible. I still see people do it. But you gotta be literally like the best of the best. Kim Jung-gi still, you know, paints and draws traditionally, right? I think he does a little bit of digital, but most of everything that everybody loves, it's all traditional. But again, he's best of the best. So
I only see his traditional, but yeah, I think he does some digital too.
I'm sure he can, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
everybody loves his traditional stuff even more, so he probably just does more of that.
Okay, that was really helpful to
My
me.
pleasure. My pleasure.
And
Yeah.
I I I I don't know why didn't I say this before, but uh, those I'm doing your courses on Schoolism, and I'm doing Nathan Folks. He's a god
Uh-huh.
like Jesus, Jesus Christ, and that video feedback that you put like teacher, like you put the recording of the
Yes.
correction, the teacher that give his uh, that gives to the guy, I forgot the word, the guy who is paying for the course, the mentorship.
Uh-huh.
It's the most awesome thing, one of the most awesome things on the course, because you can see different scenarios and how the teacher deals with them. Is like how the people who are doing the course deal with them and how the teacher corrects it is
Yes.
amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I'm in those videos as well sometimes as the
Yeah,
student.
as a student, yes.
Yeah. But I don't have my name on there. It's a different name.
Oh,
Yeah, so the teachers
okay.
don't know that they're marking my paintings because I want the
Oh,
real I want the same
they don't know.
experience. No, they don't know.
Oh,
Sometimes I'll tell
shoot.
them afterwards. Yeah, and then
That's
they'll be
awesome.
like Cody Gramstad, he knows. I remember talking to him and it came out like, "Oh yeah, I took your class. I was so and so." And he was like, "Oh, that makes so much more sense now." Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Let the others ask the questions. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Stay safe.
Yes, you too. You too. Any other questions out there? I really miss Brazil, by the way. Everybody in Brazil, big shouts out. Miss you guys. Yes. Question.
Hi,
I
I have
heard
a
somebody.
question.
Hi.
Hey, I was wondering, what do you think, what do you think would be a good approach since like everyone can reach each other online now to do stuff independently and not have to rely on a studio and be able to like just start out independently from your work, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for
Like, what
calling in,
would
by
be
the
the
way.
traits that? Yeah, of course. Thank you.
What's your name?
I'm Sina. I met you in Seattle, and I
Oh,
met
okay.
you in Lightbox,
Oh,
and it's really cool to just have the experience. I
yeah.
met
Well,
you
it's
last year.
nice to hear from you, Sina. So okay, I totally just blanked on the question. What was the question again? I'm so
Okay, so the
sorry.
question, how would you approach being just independent artist?
Oh,
So not
yes.
having to rely on a studio. Yeah, and like, how would you manage yourself?
Okay, well,
And
number one is you're by yourself, which means it it can work out really well for you if you have discipline because you're by yourself. Nobody's gonna, you know, see if you went to work, see how hard you're working, things like that. So the first thing is to create a schedule. And I would think about my priorities a lot to the point where I believe it. And I go, okay, yeah, these studies, like this stream is very important to me now. So every day, every week on this day, this time, I'm doing the stream. Anything else anybody wants me to do, I go, no, that time is protected. So start to carve out times in your day or in your week that are protected, and you will not let anything uh, take over that time, unless it's like some serious like emergency and you got to go to the hospital or something. And obviously, uh, that's different. Then the next thing I would do is I would think about my goals and really solidify what my goal is, uh, and try to put time on it. The other thing is that all of our plans, all of our goals and things, as we start to make, as we start to do the plans, a lot of times our plans need to change. So it's important to plan, but it's also very important to constantly kind of look up, look where you're heading, and go, is this still a good plan? Maybe it's a good plan in the beginning, but then things changed and now it's not. Um, that might seem kind of, oh yeah, that's basic. Everybody should know this. But really, it's in the details that will determine much of our success. Right? So if you're really trying to say learn some new skill like ZBrush or something like that, you block out your time. But then also, what are you going to be doing with this time that's meant for ZBrush? How are you going to be learning it? Are you going to be just going through tutorials and just watching them and not actually doing them? Are you going to watch them and then you also have time to practice? So that's what I would do. I would have time for learning, notes, and like writing notes and learning, reading, watching videos. And then I would separate another chunk of time just for practicing, for doing it. And that practice time will be way bigger than my learning time. Because I don't want to just learn something and remember it for 3 days. I want to learn it and remember it forever, just like the color scheme that I'm doing with this image here is all from stuff that I feel has totally become internal to me, and I own this information now. Does this help?
yeah, of course, it does make sense. And then I've just like a thing to make like it clarify.
Sure.
So if you have like different types of work you want to break into, since you're doing independent work, so you want to do like children's books, you want to do animation, you want to do like concept for like film, how do you separate it so it's not overwhelming, but you're still like getting all these tasks like in as like a presentable work that you're getting jobs for?
One of the hardest things to do
Like,
is just
like
to
a specific thing.
yeah, one of the hardest things to do is to put those blinders on like a racehorse, you know, and you're just focused on the race. And you're just focused on that one thing. That's what you need to do. And how do you know which thing to concentrate on? It doesn't really matter that much. It really doesn't. If you look at all your options and go, yeah, that sounds like a good option. Maybe I could learn this though. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good option as well. They're both the right answer. It doesn't matter which one you choose. That's how I feel. The much more important decision is to do one and stick with it until you get good at it. Because what you don't want to do is try something a little bit, not really add any value to your skills, and then you move on to another thing, try it a little bit, and you move on to another thing, try it a little bit, and then you spend 3 months trying stuff and learn nothing. You know, that's what I see too much of. The really smart ones are the ones kind of like I was mentioning Forrest Gump. Forrest, he decides, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Forrest Gump, but he decides on one thing, and then he just keeps doing that one thing until he becomes really, really good at it. And then he chooses another thing and another thing. And in the end...
Yeah, I think that would be fair to do, yeah.
Right? In the end, you might not want to be an animator. Like that one person was mentioning animation. Well, I hope that person really learns animation to the point where they're really, really stinking good. And if they don't want to be an animator at that point, they want to do storyboarding. Everything that they learned in animation will apply. A lot of it will apply to storyboarding or character design or whatever. Does that make sense? That's how I feel about it anyways. And that's proven to be very true. Yeah. So thank you for your question.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's like really good because all these specifics are really close to each other, like sculpting and drawing and painting. So
Yes.
it's just like a good time that they feed into each other.
Yes, and what will happen is kind of like just like these... Yeah, go ahead.
I was wondering if you guys are going to do demos like last year for LightBox.
We will have more information as we get closer to the event. Right now, I'm looking at all of our options and seeing what we can do, you know, while still holding a free event. That's our goal, is to hold a free event. But when you don't charge money for the event, then yeah, options get more limited. But we're going to try to do the best we can. Yeah, so thanks for your question. If it's cool, I'm just going to move on to another question now.
Thank you. Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah. Oh, I did want to finish that thought though. You know, like learning is very much kind of like these, or what we were just talking about, learning different things is very much kind of like these challenges, isn't it? I love the fact that now some people have submitted some challenges where you can see influences from previous challenges. Now they own that information, you know what I mean? Like they've taken what they've learned from previous challenge, applied it to a new challenge, just like what I'm doing with this one. And it's very similar to like what the last caller was saying. What should I, you know, I want to do this, and this. Many people have this kind of dilemma. I want to do all these things. What do I do? Which one do I do first? It doesn't matter. You just do one to the point where you gain something from it. And it will seep into everything else that you did and enhance everything else that you do and you learn. It'll always kind of come back in. All right, so let's go on to the next question here. Oh, yes. Somebody on Discord.
Oh, I just said thank you. Sorry.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Caleb, and
Hi,
my
Caleb.
question was kind of to follow up with what everything you're talking about right now. So I was just kind of wondering if you had advice on how to decide what that one thing is that we should focus on, because I think that's part of the problem. Like where I get pulled in so many directions is because I like all these things and I
Let
don't
me
know.
ask you this, Caleb, because
Yes.
I completely relate to you. You know,
Okay.
there's so many things about art that I'm just so interested in, especially when I go to museums, I start to see sculptures, I start to see, all these other things. Okay.
Yes.
What are the name like two or more things that you're kind of deciding between, like that you would like to learn or like to do?
Um, I think profession-wise, my long-term goal would be like story artist.
Okay, story artist.
Yes.
Is
And
there
then I
any
think
other? Yeah.
like subject matter would be like I don't know, I really like the gritty dark sci-fi stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay, but right now we're deciding on what we want to kind of pursue, right?
Right. Yes.
So if you already know that storyboarding, then done. You're done.
All right.
If you're deciding between storyboarding and maybe character design and you're not sure which one,
Uh-huh.
the next thing I would say to you is, okay, well, if you were to rate each of these decisions between 1 to 10, 1 being this is not a good idea, 10 being this is an amazing idea, what would you rate both of those things, storyboarding and character design, right? So maybe you give character design a 8 and storyboarding a 7. I don't know. Either way, if it's around a 7 or higher, it's probably a good decision. It's much better if we just really don't waste time, get right into it, and start doing that thing. Because just like this challenge, this is the 6th week that we've been doing this challenge, and already people, you can see people merging knowledge that they learned in previous weeks and applying it to this week. And it's just a little bit over a month, and people are already seeing the knowledge and the skills that have been improving. So
Yeah. Well, thank you. It sounds like it's good to
just dive in.
kind of dive in and like kind of make a list to just check like what is the most important thing to yourself and go
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, and if it's between one decision that's really, really good and another decision that's really, really good, it doesn't matter which one is the best one out of those two. You just choose one of them. They're both good. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, there's definitely something to be said about going from one thing straight to another, not wasting time, things like that. When you start to add together all the times that you are wasting time and not adding to your potential, adding to your skill set, adding to your future, how many times does that happen in a day? Add those all up. Does it equal an hour? Does it equal more than an hour? Because like most of us, we work 8-9 hours a day. That's 1/8 of our time, 1/9 of our time, where we could totally be doing something else. And then you do that for 7 days in a row, it all adds up big time, big time. And that's what I hope to show many of the artists through these challenges. Stick with me in the challenges and you will see yourself grow before your eyes. You will see your skills and everything grow before your eyes, because this is how I also evolve. This is how I've taught for so many years. It completely makes sense, and it's proven, But this becomes kind of more fun because I get to paint with you guys, and you're painting with me too. And then when you're done, don't forget to upload your assignment and hashtag it 90-minute art challenge or 90 min art challenge. In the bottom corner of the screen, you can see the hashtag there. And then we could all see them. And who knows, I might just feature you in the next one. Okay. I was wondering if, this is another question from Slido, I was wondering if there was going to be a class dedicated to freelance, financial stability, time management for artists on Schoolism. Is that something that you guys like want? Like that's, I could make a class like that. I've taught a class like that in Florence one time.
Kind
Business of art. Oh, hey Patricia. Good to hear from you. Okay. Oh, sorry. That's not
No.
Patricia. Who is that?
No, Andromeda.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's not my real name, but you know.
Well, it's nice to hear from you. Yeah, I'll add it to my list. Right now, my list is quite long, and I'm pretty good at keeping my focus, so it probably won't happen for a while. Maybe it could happen for Lightbox. We'll see, because I'll be organizing the event. I don't know if I have time to present, but we'll see. Okay, great question. And of course, I mentioned that Schoolism has an amazing sale right now. Get on it. It's literally like a fraction of the price of, so much education out there. And these are all instructors that I searched out for years, collecting knowledge from my favorite artists. Yeah, definitely check it out and take advantage. Okay, so Anonymous asks a question about LightBox. Can you tell us how LightBox Expo Online will work? I'm excited about it. We will have more information as we get closer to the event. That's the best I can tell you right now, because everything, we're really just hearing all of the options that we have and really investigating every option. Lightbox Expo, I'm glad you're excited about it. It's still in September, so we still have a good amount of time. And you don't need to worry about travel arrangements, so then the announcements can come a little later. And I could use the time to work on the event as well. Anonymous asks, how do you decide what to draw on daily basis? I don't have inspiration every day, but I'm trying to do it every day. Too many times goes on choosing what to draw. Easy. Do the study of the day, the art challenge of the week, and study that one image for an entire week. If you can't decide, you can just go autopilot. Go to the challenge of the week, study the heck out of it, study it in a way where you need to teach somebody how to paint and draw this after, or you need to be able to paint and draw this without any reference after. Study in that way, and you'll be sure to have learning and really absorbing knowledge as your top priority. When you have the focus of just trying to copy it, many times we leave so much of the knowledge on the floor. It just drops right out of our heads because we've been focused on matching colors, matching proportions, matching angles, not really making sense of what all of them mean. Why are they all there? Yeah. So the best, okay. Hey, here's one from Hassan. Says, hi Bobby, how do you balance the soft edges and hard edges and shadows? Oh, great. Yeah, and that was your Instagram. Right on. Okay, Hassan. So, balancing the soft edges and hard edges in shadows. Some simple general guidelines. Okay. If it's a shadow casted from one object to another, then you're going to have harder shadows, harder edged shadows. Right? If it's a form that is slowly turning away from the light, or is gradually turning away from the light, then you're going to have softer shadows. And the slower it starts to slowly turn away from the light, you're going to have even softer shadows. Okay, and then there's also the light itself. Right? If the light is more ambient, like coming from everywhere, then you're going to have soft shadows, a lot more soft shadows in general, because the light is kind of coming from everywhere. So you're not going to have a hard edge since you don't have just one light source, point of light, right? If you have a flashlight and you shine it on something, you're going to have hard shadows for every shadow that's been casted onto another object, unless the object that is casting the shadow has soft edges, like it's furry. Right? If it's a ball of cotton, that's not going to really have as hard of a shadow than if it was a dinner plate. All right, let's check that one off. How to know when the artwork is done. I tend to go over detail I tend to over detail everything and haven't found the right balance of detailed and looseness. I think that'll come with time for you. That's my hunch. I think it'll come with time for you. But one thing is to kind of constantly focus on the entire image. You see, I always have a small window, or I generally always have a small window of the same assignment open, of the same painting open. That way I can glance at it and look at the image as a whole and see, okay, does it look okay? Do I need to add anything else? That kind of thing. Sometimes you don't need to go to 90 minutes. By the way, we have a bit over 10 minutes left. So time to really start to think about finishing this illustration. And if you do, wow, you just finished the illustration in 90 minutes. It's awesome. And you got the whole day, or you didn't waste the whole day on it, right? Which is really nice. Okay, so the other part of this is you can help the whole entire, you can improve the idea of not detailing everything by just starting off your painting and going, okay, where's my focus going to be? That's the area that I will paint slower and more detailed, and everything else, and those are my fast zones, and I will force myself to paint faster in those areas. That is nice too. That helps as well. Okay. This is a really great question by Anonymous. What has teaching others taught you? Wow, that's a good one. That's a good one. So, of course, the most obvious thing is when you teach somebody, you kind of learn it twice, right? I feel like when you teach somebody, then you have to know exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it. To be a really good teacher, I'm sure there's many situations where you don't necessarily need to know what you're doing. You just show somebody, and then through the act of showing them, they can learn. Okay. But of course, it's helped me to learn a lot just by teaching other people. The other thing that I've learned, just from teaching people is how much more there is to learn. It's such a wonderful world out there with like endless amounts of information to gather and to learn and everything. And I feel like the best way to teach is just to be open and honest. That's something that I learned as well, that I don't need to know everything. And it's okay for me to tell people, yeah, that thing I don't know. Of course, if you could say, I don't know it, but I will find out, that's even better. Another thing just from teaching is learn that everybody's different. Everybody learns in their own way. There are commonalities and similarities, and similar traits with people generally will have similar, far more greater opportunity for similar learning habits, how they learn. I also learned that it's important to get to know that person, what motivates them. Like for me, I get motivated a lot when people tell me no. Right? When they tell me I'm not good enough or something like that, I'll get motivated actually a lot. Because it's kind of like a challenge to me. I'll show you I could do it, and you do it. And some people, they'll fall right over. Some people will soar to amazing heights and be incredible if they're complimented, if they're encouraged. I feel like I'm like that as well. So I feel like, I don't know, everything kind of encourages me. But that has been a very interesting thing as well, just seeing what motivates different people. And by teaching, you have to know that, so you can know what will push people's learning buttons, and get them to learn. Some people, they also need to be challenged. Some people, if it comes too easy to them, they stop trying. So yeah, teaching is really, I guess it's really taught me about different personalities, dealing with different people, instead of trying to do what you would like to be done to yourself, like treat others how you would like to be treated. There's a huge flaw in that, right? And it should really be treat others how you feel they would want to be treated, because not everybody wants to be treated the same. All right, that was a good long answer to that one. Yeah, aren't you guys so excited? I don't know. I'm so excited. I've just been thinking about the next challenge, Westworld. This will be fun. I think this will be really fun. Anyhow, also I want to mention that the next challenge number 7, the Westworld image, I've already put it on YouTube. You can also find the details, that links to that challenge, in the description of this video. So hop on over and click on the reminder button, so you make sure that you come back and continue this, because it's in the continuity that really powers that whole evolution, the whole learning process so much more. Yeah, it's all free. It's very much like, I'm going to be doing this anyways. I want to learn. Come join me if you want to learn the same way I'm learning, and we'll do this together. It's a lot better than doing it by yourself, I could tell you that. What is the weirdest drawing you had to do for a client or a job? I have a really bad one, so I'm gonna pass on this if you don't mind. Maybe one day if you meet me in person, you could ask me the same thing and I might just tell you. All right. But yeah, it was from big time celebrity. And it's very weird. All right. Next one is the best artist to study composition from. Oh, you know what? Oh man. Best artist to study composition from. There's so many. So I can't really, I don't know if I could really say. Okay, I'm just going to say some that come just off the top of my head. I would, you know what I would say? I would say study good movies. Right? And look up best directed movies, best cinematography in movies or shows, and go in there. Find those still frames. That's what I was doing this morning. That's how I picked out that Westworld one. I went through the video, screen grabbed really cool compositions, really cool ideas or images. I like to go, a lot of times I like to go to other sources besides painting to find inspiration that I could bring back into my paintings. So photos or fashion or pottery or whatever it might be. Any more questions on Discord there? Feel free to ask me a question. Otherwise, I'll just move on.
I have another one.
Hi.
Hi.
What's your name? Where are you from?
Actually, yes, I'm Jan from Poland.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here goes another one. Which art books do you recommend?
Oh, wow. I like videos much more than art books because then I can see how they're doing it like in real time, the brush marks and things like that. But favorite art books, things that come to the top of my head, Drawn, what's it called? Drawn from Life by Walt Stansfield. If anybody knows the title, well, yeah, Drawn to Life, that's what it's called. He used to teach at Disney, the artist there, how to do gesture drawings. Fantastic book. Really nice sayings throughout the book that really makes you think. The person that should make a freaking art book is Craig Mullins, though. Because every time I talk with that guy, he blows my mind. And I'm kind of speechless for the next half an hour just trying to think of everything that he said and how does this all make sense, you know, and trying to poke holes in it. Is that really true? And then I try to like find examples and I can't find any examples of why he's saying, why he might not be saying the right thing, you know. What's another really good? Illusion of Life, another animation background kind of book. That was great. James Gurney books are fantastic. Andrew Loomis books are fantastic. Bridgman. Those Bridgman sketchbooks, you know, Human Anatomy, those are fantastic too, but they don't have many words in them. Tara Whitlatch is another person where it's like you need to get one of her books At least one. If you...
Could you repeat her name and surname?
Oh, how do you spell the name?
Yeah.
Oh, Terrell Whitlatch. I'll ask.
Okay, I got that.
I'll put a link in the Discord.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and Walt Stanchfield is Stanch and then Field, Field. What's another good one? I guess that's all I can think of right now. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you again.
You're
I will
welcome.
make sure to look at them and maybe get some new knowledge.
Yes. And of course, I can't forget Claire Wendling. You know, that's another favorite art book, or she has many art books, but that's another person that I love, and I feel like everybody should have at least one of her art books. Ian McKegg is another one. But instructional art books. I think that's all I can really think about right now. But there's so many. Once I dive into it, I'm sure. Like Peter DeSev also comes to mind as a huge one. Chris Sanders, his sketchbooks are just gorgeous, and you just want to draw. You just want to do art when you look at these people's books. Hide them under your pillow so you always have it close. All right. Thank you so much for your question.
Thank you very much.
All right. So I'm going to go to Slido here for another question as we go to our very final question. So in those uncertain times, how do you feel the industry is going to react and transform? In your opinion, is there going to be a crunch in demand in our jobs? We're one of the only industries that are still going full steam ahead. Animation. Woo, 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 woo. You know, it's awesome. We're all working from home and we're all making shows. We're still making movies. We're still, making television shows. It's great. Oh, by the way, I wanted to ask a little favor, okay? Or actually, it's very much like trying to see what people are thinking, what their favorite classes are on Schoolism. That's what I'd like to know. So if you've taken a class on Schoolism, only if you've taken a class on Schoolism, which class did you take that was your favorite? If you could put it in the comments when this stream is over, then I could read them very easily, and it'd be very much appreciated. And so, how are things going to change? Hopefully, a lot more people are going to be open to the idea of working remotely. I think that will be a really great one for us, for the entire art community, because when we could all work remotely, then we all have that opportunity. It doesn't matter if you're in Indonesia or Brazil or wherever. We can all work on cool stuff. And I think that's pretty much it for today, everybody. Join us next week when we paint from Westworld. This will be so good. I can't wait. And don't forget to upload your illustration for the 90-minute art challenge and hashtag it 90min art challenge. And don't forget to check out all the other 90-minute art challenges. There's almost 500 now. It's been great. Really, really fun. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Take advantage of the Schoolism sale and spread it around, because when anybody learns, they benefit. All right, that's enough. Have a wonderful day. Sending positive vibes to all of you. Take care.